I need a ball. Let's grab two just in case. Today, I'm gonna make a statement that whether you agree with it or not, I think you will by the end of the video. I think getting green in regulations for most golfers are pretty overrated. So let me explain what I mean. A little tooth. Oh. Explosion of dirt in my face. Now the average golfer, I'm imagining the average golfer is probably like a 25 handicap, and I imagine that they get probably like 5 green regulations around, but that's not to say that they aren't trying to get green regulations around, and I think that's the big issue. Now in this hole, I was all over the place, which I imagine the average golfer is probably used to, but all we need is a bogey so I can 2-putt from here. That was abysmal putting. And roll back off. Okay, let's not do that anymore. All we want is bogey golf. To break 90, the key thing is your short game. And your short game is going to be more important than green regulations. But going for green regulations is where the average golfer, I think, falls apart. Let me explain. Okay, so let me clarify something. I don't think green regulations are bad, but I do think there's an unnecessary focus on them from the average golfer when it doesn't need to be. And I do think there's a tipping point in your scoring where green regulations become quite important. But until you're scoring in like the 80s and the 70s, it's probably not that important. And probably not even the 80s. Oh, don't go on. I shouldn't go on, it's into the wind. Now let's take a long par 3, for example. This one from the blues is around 220 yards. From the whites, it's around 200 yards. Most people, when you approach a par 3, you're looking to land it on the green, which is a green regulation. Duh, makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that. But how many people have a confident 200-yard club versus how many people will choose a club that could go 200 yards and try to land it on the green? Oh, that could be good. Oh, I caught that hill. Oh. And because I think people are going for green regulations with clubs that they don't feel confident with, they're getting a lot more unreliability in their shots, and they're ruining their game versus actually gaining anything from going for the green regulation. Oh, that's all right, bogey golf. So on that hole, on that par 3, did I make a bogey because I missed the green regulation, or because I didn't chip it close enough, or because I did not putt it on the first stroke? Now, of course, the easiest answer is green regulation. That's not going to prevent a bogey. And if you have a chance for a confident club and a reliable club to go for the green regulation, go for it. If you don't, that's where people are fucking up the scores. Perfect. So statistically, most average golfers are not getting green regulations more than 6 a round. That does not mean that you are losing your scoring by not getting green regulations. That means you're either losing it off the tee or your short game needs improvement. And that's my point. Green regulations, I mean, they're fun to have, of course. Once you're breaking into the low 80s and the 70s, you need more of them, but also your short game is also going to be very essential. But for the average golfer, being able to free yourself up from thinking about green and regulations is a luxury. I feel so at ease right now knowing I don't need to go for this green. Even though it's on only 160 yards and I feel confident, just knowing in my mind that I'm not going for the green regulation, I feel like I can just swing easy, focus on contact, and just be relaxed. Look at this. I purposely left myself here in the fairway versus accidentally leaving myself here. And accidentally, I probably would not have left myself in the fairway. I probably would be in the bunker, in the rough, long, and both of those missed the green regulation. However, here, I have a pretty straightforward chip. It's in the fairway. I know how the fairway is going to react. That's not guaranteeing that my chip is going to be good, But that's on my short game. That's not on something that I can't control, such as being in the rough, being in the bunker, being long, up a hill, bad slope, whatever it is. Oh, that was terrible, Chip. That's on me. But now I still have, in theory, a chance for par, but I can still get it up there, 2-putt for bogey. I'm gonna chip this though, because I want to work on my short game today. And this is a great drill to really work on your short game because you're forcing yourself to work on your short game. But it also is a great mental drill. So if I accidentally did not get on the green in regulation, I may be in my head thinking, rah, 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 rah. I'm upset because I didn't get in the green in regulation, versus I feel at ease because I purposely did not try to go for green in regulation. That was so bad. I really got to work on my short game. Now, by knowing that I don't need a green in regulation on this par 5, it frees me up off the tee box, which is where most people are probably losing shots. I could choose an iron, I could choose a wood, I could choose a hybrid. I don't need to choose a driver if the driver I know is going to put me into more trouble. I can even swing easy off the tee box because I don't need to get on in 3. I get on in 4. Right down the middle. Nice and easy. Oh, I got a bad bounce. But most people don't need to think about getting pars. Most people need to think about getting bogeys and not losing the ball so much and better contact. So by not going for a green in regulation, it frees you up to focus on those things such as better contact. Golf is a huge mental game because a lot of people that are high average golfers, high handicap average golfers, they really need to really focus on better course management and good contact with the ball. Focusing on green in regulations and trying to make pars is not going to help you score any better. Now, of course, on this shot, I could easily get it on the green, despite what my short game has been looking like today. But I need to purposely miss. But let's imagine this was a little bit further out. If it was a little bit further out, there are bunkers all around this green. So the chances of me hitting it into one of those bunkers and not having a bunker shot that I'm very comfortable with is pretty high for the average golfer. So being able to free yourself up from getting green in regulations is going to help you play better course management, because I can purposely put myself into better positions where I feel more comfortable. And doing that takes off the stress from trying to make pars and get green in regulations, which then frees you up to focus on happier things like better contact with the ball. Ironically, I say that and then I do that. I swear my short game's not this bad usually. Being able to manage your anger, your stress, and your anxiety are 3 really important things to being able to play better golf. And finding ways to free yourself up from those mental blocks, I guess you could say, is pretty essential. So stopping going for green regulations is a really good way to do that, at least in my mind. As long as you were making that choice, as opposed to unconsciously or accidentally making that choice, and then you're getting upset and it's easily to spiral. And this is a good drill, like I said before, to really work on your short game, because trying to break 80, I need to start getting my short game to really tap in area every single time. But helping you be able to really focus on your short game and your scrambling abilities, in the long run, it's going to help you score better. Getting more green in regulations is not going to help you score better. Scrambling better is going to help you score better, because you're not going to get many green in regulations till you're in the low single-digit handicaps. Now, if you are getting a lot of green in regulations, good. You should be scoring well. If you're not scoring well and you're getting, 7 or more green in regulations per round, you're doing something really wrong. Let's talk about that. I really need to work on those kind of chips. I mean, that one is decent, but I get so nervous over those, hitting those too long. Oh, that's a pretty good putt. Look at that. I gotta start putting like that more often. Getting green in regulations obviously can help you score better, but it's not the reason why you are not scoring better, if that makes sense. Now, you can get a green in regulation, you could 3-putt. Hell, you could even 3-putt it off the green. If you are in a chance where you have the confident club to get in green in regulation, go for it. What I mean by confident club, I mean I'm not worried about contact with the ball. I'm 9 times out of 10, I can hit this ball pretty well. It may not go perfectly where I want it because that's golf, but I know the contact is not really a problem. So on this one, I have a 160-yard par 3. I get a confident club in my hand. Let's go for the green. Maybe I made a hole-in-one. I did not make a hole-in-one, but it's a really good shot. So because I have a reliable club in my hand, I can go for the green. If I did not have a reliable club in my hand, well, then I am introducing the chance to hit it poorly into a bad area. And I've been speaking about that this entire time. So the better way to do it is you choose a club that is reliable and you miss to a spot that is safe and reliable. So I'll choose a pitching wedge and I'll just hit it up there to a safe, comfortable spot. And there we go. And I'll talk a little bit more about greener regulations, and if you are getting them, why you're not scoring better. If you are getting greener regulations and you're not scoring well, such as like you're not breaking the scores that you want, or if you're not breaking 100 or 90, then it's likely that you're having too many blow-up holes, either hitting the ball out of bounds a lot of the time, or when it is time to use a short game, well, it's looking like mine today, right? So using this drill on a practice round like this, you can easily work on your short game, figure out some kinks, get better with it. Or you can figure out, how do I stop losing the ball and having blow-up holes? My short game today is just, if you're new here, go watch some of my other videos where my short game is much better. And don't judge me off of this one. Now, this is my green regulation shot, and this is obviously my short game shot. Now my short game, ideally, my second wedge would be somewhere around here. But my short game today, it ain't working. But if you are getting greener regulations, you should be figuring out, how do I, one, putt better? If you're three putting all the time and getting greener regulations, you shouldn't be doing that, right? Three putting is inevitable. However, you should be able to control it. How many times have you left yourself within, 12 feet, a great shot, and you three putt? You shouldn't be doing that. You should at least be two putting. And putting, until you need to start making birdies, is pretty easy. It's really just about learning, how do I get distance control with whatever greens that I'm playing on, and I use the line of the ball. So now, you shouldn't be missing these. These are little tap-ins. They should be pretty easy. But you got to figure out your putting if you're getting more green regulations than the average golfer. Because if you get three putts, well, then you're going to be upset, and then you potentially four putt because you're just spiraling out of control. And like I said before, stopping the spiral is the key thing to what you want to do. So if you're three putting all the time, or even four putting, mentally you're going to be shaky with a putter in your hand. And most people also aren't getting green regulations that often because they're hitting their driver into a spot where you're not even able to get a green regulation. Or if you're hitting your driver well, you usually flub your second shot, which is no good. Okay, you can see the ball. I was making sure you can see the ball. So knowing off the tee that I'm not going for a greener regulation, well, one, as long as there's no out of bounds, I can use my driver as long as it's not going to leave me in a spot where I can make a double bogey. So it frees me up to use my driver a little bit more, knowing I don't need to go for the greener regulation. But it also frees me up to know I can choose a safer club rather than my driver. Imagine I was playing this hole normally. I hit my drive over here. Now in my mind, I'm already saying, I gotta take my medicine. Can I find a window to actually try to get it on the green? It's 180 yards. Can I get my 7-iron over this tree? Can I get my 7-iron through that little gap? I think I needed to through that gap. And I can introduce a lot more problems than I actually need to. Now that I know, all right, I don't need to go in for the greener regulation right now, I'm already more relaxed. Versus if I hit a bad drive, I'm going to be more upset because I know driver is for trying to get pars, right? That's the whole purpose. Hit it far, hit it in the fairway, try to get a par. However, most people are going to hit their drives like this. It's going to go right, it's going to go left. I'm going to have to take my medicine on my second shot. So we're really already wasting a shot off the tee. So now I got to take my medicine and I can't get a greener regulation. And in my mind, I'm upset. Versus if I know I'm not getting a greener regulation on purpose, well, I'm a lot more free mentally. and I can hit a pitching wedge, and I don't need to get a green regulation. It's gonna be in the fairway, or at least in the rough, and we're gonna have a third shot on. Because I did not go for a risky shot. I'm nice in the middle of the fairway. I got the sun shining on me, and hopefully my short game is a little bit better than the previous holes. I could just get it on the green and have a nice tap in par. But if I can't, I can still have a two putt. My wedges are actually working today, but I could just two putt and I can get a bogey. And if I keep doing that, I can break 90. But most people would be happy shooting in the 90s. So even if I'm making double bogeys like I am today, which I normally don't make, it's all right because we can shoot in the 90s and we'll be happy. Real Tony, come on, man. What are you doing? All right. I know what I'm doing wrong. I just don't know why I'm doing it. These are all terrible shots, but they're still good enough to shoot in the 90s. Don't get me wrong. There we go. Much better. If we want those, just do that the first time, man. As you get better and better, your wedge shots will get closer and closer, and you will score better and better. And most of playing good golf is about being able to scramble, like I said earlier. However, until you are scoring better, your mental needs to get better. And the better you score, also, your mental needs to get better. Mental is really important, right? If you watch, no shade thrown, but if you watch Michael Morris is really good at golf, but his mental really holds him back a lot of the time. Because he's putting so much pressure on himself to perform well and make birdies. See, nice little tapping. He's putting so much pressure on himself to perform at a certain level, well, then he's getting in his head. And I'm not saying he should be trying to miss greener regulations because he's at a different level and he needs greener regulations. Ooh, oh, come on, man. And that's why I'm talking about missing greener regulations on purpose, because it's going to free up a lot of golfers from trying to score better. That was just a really bad putt. That's why I don't putt mid-center. Still, 3 bogeys. And everyone's happy. But helping you guys with your mental is my goal. Maybe we'll help Michael Morris one day with his mental. But the point is, finding ways to free your mind up during golf is key. Inevitably, you're gonna run into a long par 4, where you won't have a comfortable second shot unless you hit a really far drive. And most people are not gonna hit a really far drive. So this is, I think, 440 yards. So most people should just play this as a par 5, and it frees themselves up a lot. I see a land, but that should be perfect. So on this hole, right, it's a long par 4, 458 yards. It actually was. So now that I have 170 yards left, let's imagine that there was actually water in front of the green. So what would I do? On a par 4, yeah, you would want to lay up ideally, but there are going to be people that are gonna go for it because they're trying for the green regulation. And unless you're a really good golfer and you need pars, shooting in the 70s and the low 80s, well, then playing for the bogey is going to be key to scoring better. Not putting yourself in bad positions on tough holes. Anyway, I repeated that message, I don't know how many times by now. Hopefully you got it. I know there's still gonna be people that argue in the comments, which is fine. I like commentary. Don't be rude, but I like discussion about it. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it frees you up in your next round to score a little bit better. Fell over. Now we're fine. And yeah, I don't know, nice fall. Tell me what you think. See you next time.